Are we done?
Yeah. Okay, you're good.
All right, we're on. We're good. We're good. Everybody. There we are. We're good. Yay.
Yay, we can start.
All right, now we can officially start. See, we just. One second.
I have sugary gummies if you want. Nerds.
All right. Welcome to the work session for the village board for 10/20/2024. We have no guests this evening, so we will start with our grant update.
Okay, so you should have this sheet in front of you. There are just a few updates. Let's see. If we go down to, I think I already updated you last meeting about the quarterly update report for FEMA for the Island Park Dam. So there's really no updates since there. For the municipal planning grant for the community plan, the contract is signed and submitted back to Erie County. We have a steering committee meeting tomorrow, so we'll move ahead on those. Let's see, for the Karen McMahon Sam funding for Village Hall, we are having an event tomorrow at Village Hall to officially announce the upgrades. Karen will be here for that. 3:30. Yeah, here at the hall. All right. And then if you go down to the Clean Energy Community Grant, which is second last on the first page, we were given a $10,000 award, and we used that on DPW to buy electric equipment, which they love, by the way.
Oh, I know.
They were
So
using their
jealous.
electric chainsaws, and we're amazed
So
at
jealous.
yeah,
Really?
how quiet they are. So that's good. For the legislative vinyl funding for the Island Park water line, we have gotten some clarity over the last week about, because there was a few different contracts out there. So we're getting all that nailed down, signed and returned as needed. So that is coming together. On the back, we have just 2 more sections, intent to apply. No updates except for we are pulling together an application for the Gary Sinise Foundation. They are for the firefighters. We're asking for $5,000 per firefighter. It's a grant that they give out up to $125,000. So we're going to apply for that. Okay. Yeah. And let's see. There's no other fire grants open right now. So that's really all we have going on there. And then as far as closing, we did hear about the South Long Park Playground, the $125,000 from DASNY. So they said that is pending. It's coming to us. The money is good. We're done. So just the closing paperwork now. So you'll get an email, Mayor, and you will see it from DASNY. Yeah. Okay.
But I haven't received it.
Yeah, you probably haven't yet. So, but that should be coming to you. Okay. Let's see. The lizard cost one, Sophie did do the exit interview with FEMA, so we're all set on that one. That one's done. And then the Tree City Award, that's fine. Tree City, the application, we're starting a new application for the new year. So,
You know what, Steve? Speaking of trees, we were at a meeting last week, and the mayor from Lancaster said, so there were a lot of grants for trees available.
Yeah.
And that we should call her office,
oh, okay.
and she has a list.
Mayor Root.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, Lynn Ruda,
Yeah.
Okay.
Village Link.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, great. I will do
Even if
that.
Sophie wants to email her.
Yeah.
She offered
We
it.
use it.
Yeah.
We use her to email.
Okay, great.
Yeah. She offered, so we can.
Yeah, very nice. That'd be great.
Yeah, she was more than willing to share that with you.
Okay, good. And then that's really it for this week as far as updates. If you have any questions. And then next, I threw in a technology update for you guys. We have a lot of different things going on right now, so I just kind of wanted to go over them with you quickly. And the mayor had asked for an update on Tyler Technologies software conversion. So we're kind of going through that now. It is quite intensive. I actually didn't realize how much it was going to be. but it's a lot. But it's going to be so worth it. From the demos I've gotten, it's just going to be amazing, and it's going to make everyone's life a lot easier. So we're going through some training modules right now. We're working on data pulls from KBS to Tyler. So they're pulling in everything. We do 3 total data pulls. And then by the end, they have to balance, right? Everything has to balance. So we'll get that there. Um, so we have several modules that we purchase. The general ledger, accounts payable, fixed assets, purchasing, all the main financial modules will be done by the end of the year. So we can launch those beginning of next year. And then the personnel payroll will be probably a couple months later because they want us to get used to the other thing first, and then we do the payroll. Taxes is coming much later, partially because of Tyler's schedule and who they have available to build these modules. And that's okay. We can do one more year of taxes on KBS. So that's actually the best part of KBS is the tax module. So then the My Civic app, I don't know if you remember that, but when we purchased Tyler, we are going to get an app. Yes. So that's almost done. It's being built, and Sophie and I are going to see it tomorrow, actually, see where it's at. Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. Yep. Yeah. So that's going to be really nice. Shouldn't be too much longer, I would say within a month or 2. Yeah, that'll be nice. It'll be really good. I think the residents will really like it. You
So who
know?
would be updating that constantly, putting information in, like the road closure or
Yeah.
that type of thing?
So-
Is that somebody from our staff?
Yeah, Sophie. Yeah.
Okay, great.
And me. I won't dump it all on her, so I'll learn it too.
Well, yeah.
All right. And then we've got PCA doing a lot of work right now on our systems. We are getting Microsoft Office 365 right now. This week it's getting installed. So actually, Mayor, I'm going to have your computer, your laptop upgraded to that. So we bought all the licenses. It's being installed. So we will have Teams, OneDrive, SharePoint, those things that we don't have now, which will be very nice. A lot of projects we could use SharePoint for.
Everybody's familiar with Teams, but I'm sure how it's approached, like the program, Teams somewhat. Yeah,
Every day, yeah. It's nice. It's just easier, I think, to keep in touch. It is. It's, yeah. Yeah. Well, you don't have work computers. That's the only thing. So, no, unfortunately. Your phone, yes. We can get that stuff on your phone, like Office, or I'm sorry, Teams and everything. But the other stuff, the actual whole Office, you won't have because you don't have the government issued. Yeah. So let's see what else. Email migration. We are separating our email system from the town of Amherst's email system. Okay. So we're going to be on our own. We'll be self-managed. We will not have a 5 megabyte limit attachment size. So
Can I just send photographs?
that should, yes, I don't exactly know what our limit will be yet, but we'll have to see. But it'll be more than that. Our email addresses will stay the same. I mean, technically we could change them, but it would be such a nightmare.
I'd rather not.
Yeah, no. Right. Right. Yep. So we'll still use it the same way you guys use it on your phones. We'll still have multi-factor authorization like you will. Yep. So that's the email. Wi-Fi upgrades, which we sorely need. Yes. Mhm.
An option for,
To not
To
have it
not
on.
have it on.
oh, to opt out.
You just use it from a PC.
Well, I, for example, don't have the village mail on my phone. I refuse to do that.
Mhm.
Do you? Yes,
Yeah.
No, we're not required, but
But if we adopt
But-
two,
Yeah, then it's spoilable.
then we,
but it's our choice, right?
I mean, you can use it.
Yes.
Are these village issued phones or your own phone?
No, they're their own phones.
Can you clarify that for us, Jeff? Amy is saying that if you were to be foiled from the using personal phone, you can only foil anything you did related to the government email.
Yeah, I mean, not your,
Yeah.
not your pride, not like now everything on your personal
about your
phone is now
text?
foilable.
How about
If you're
text?
texting village business, that is arguably
Yeah,
foilable,
who
depending on
determines
exactly.
what village business is?
Well, I mean, are you, whether it's the official business that you're doing.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Opposed to,
sometimes we text, but nothing that I wouldn't talk to anybody about,
Mhm.
no secrets, but I was just curious. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it gets into a difficult, I mean, if it's on your personal phone, I personally, I recommend you try not to use village business on your phones because that, for that very reason. Because then Sue gets a FOIL request, and she's gonna have to start asking you all to search your phones.
Mhm.
Thank
Okay,
you.
Thank you for that clarification. Perfect.
Okay, so for Wi-Fi upgrades, we're adding 2 new access points. So we only have right now 1 in the building with an extender that's over there, which is why we have a lot of streaming issues and staying on. So we're adding 2 new access points, and those are coming in this week. Okay, so that should cease to be an issue for us moving forward.
Okay.
Docking stations, so while we're replacing the PC towers that we have, they're old for one thing, and we don't want to be charged for both PCs and laptops as far as coverage for PCA. So I ordered docking stations, and that's all we're going to use. So our laptops are basically our main computers now, no towers. Okay, those are coming in. We actually started getting them installed today. Katie's already on it, and I think Sophie already. And then as far as the website goes, um, the website as it is now is much improved and looks great. But Sophie is building a new one under construction right now. Looks really beautiful. New designs,
Also looks
layouts.
different?
Yep, improved functionality. It'll just be
I'm gonna look at that tomorrow.
much easier to use, much more user intuitive. Yeah, it'll be
Just
easier for people to
keep in mind that the legislature passed a bill that I proposes that's awaiting action by the governor that would require municipalities to use what is actually the villages. So walkablewilliamsville.com would not be allowed. You'd have to use a .gov website. Don't know what the governor's going to do about that.
Oh, okay. All right.
So just that's something we'll just have to stay on top of.
Okay. And that's not
Because
really.
no, it wouldn't necessarily change the. It would just change
The address.
the address.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. And then, so yeah, so that's happening. She's also going to have we might even have a couple live feeds in there like for the park. You can see the waterfall, stuff like that. Just kind of some fun stuff. And a new method for uploading and searching minutes and agendas because I super hate the one we have right now. So
It's very cumbersome.
it is.
Hard to find things.
Yes,
Yeah, it's not very user friendly.
it's not. So that's why we're working on a whole new layout.
Well, if you don't know to put in minimum and maximum, then
Yeah, it's super
Here.
aggravating. It is. So yeah, we're getting that done. Okay.
This is great, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're having some people are having some trouble hearing. Do we have a stand for that?
I'm gonna have to buy one. We only have 2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. No, because we really can't hear it.
Yeah.
Every other week, I'm going to hear that from both.
This one's on. Yeah.
It's just there's no stand, so. Okay, very good. Well, thank you for those updates. I just think it's really important that everybody knows how much is going on behind the scenes. When it comes to technology, the grants,
Mhm.
everything is getting worked on, because it's not, you don't
See the
usually,
listing?
you don't see it if you're not in there every day watching them hard at work. Very,
Yes.
very, very, um, productive group of people behind the scenes there. So
Absolutely. We got a great team going on right now.
it is, it's a good team, a very good team. Super Bowl caliber, actually. All right, committee event update. It was a very busy week last week. Several of us went to the thing, in this community event. So thank you very much everyone, for joining. And they did a marvelous job with the mural, and I was very impressed with how they preserved it and made it a focal point of the bank. And I think they really respect the village and what we're trying to achieve. So they're good partners, good business partners out there. Several of us also attended the dinner last week, the Association of Erie County Governments, and they had the 2024-25 winter storm response update to review with the county, and that was very interesting as well. We're in really good shape. I think everybody's ready. Last year's program that they used, and it was every 12 hours we met on Teams, and there was an update from the county legislator and from the county executive and anybody else that houses the DPW people and emergency services people and all the communities. We were all on it together at the same time, whether or not we were under a state of emergency or had a driving ban, we were still all on the call and to know what was going on all over the county. So it really worked well because it helped us to focus on what we need to focus on. People were sharing resources. It was a really, if we have, if and when we have that storm of the season that we get each year, I think we'll be very well prepared for it as a community. Um, so that's a good thing. We also have our own internal process that we use, and DPW helps with the fire department. They stage and plow right there so that they can get out. We have our own internal plan as well that works really well. So, you can never predict, but we always anticipate what we might see. The committee, events updates committees, nothing on the committees, events pretty much covered. But what I would like to just quickly run through for the record are the things we're working on right now, because I don't know that everybody kind of has that comprehensive list, in their mind of the umbrella we're working on. Okay, so we're working on the dam naturally, because that's been ongoing for a long time. We're working on this building and ADA compliance with this building and the fire department building, and hoping that can then be an emergency center shelter if needed, because it will be ADA compliant. We're working on, of course, crosswalks and pedestrian friendly things. We're working on spending down the ARPA money on, again, some road projects, some water issues, water flow issues on some of our streets. So we have, off the top of my head, 10 irons in the fire right now that we really need to focus on and complete before we can, community plan. That's enough, of course, steering committee, but another, really large undertaking by this board. So we're all doing a lot of work. We've also got the bathrooms going on over at Edgewood Park. We have the water line over here that's just about ending, and a lifting station that will be added. So we have lots of things happening and almost to the completion point, but we have to let those things funnel through and make sure they're all going towards completion, so they do get completed. So right now, we're not gonna jump on any new projects or any new, change, I guess, opportunities or street roads. We're gonna continue with, yes, what we normally do with the streets by the year, how, the plan that DPW and Ben put together. But we're not gonna go in and do anything really big right now. We're doing a lot of really big right now. Things for a village board, lots of really big things. So we're gonna go take a little break in spring. We'll look at really big things again. But we're gonna let all the things we're doing now funnel down to the final stages, so we know that they will get completed before we start moving in new directions. Because I really don't want us to get overwhelmed, to be honest. Because then you just have so many things going in different directions that you never can't complete. Or you get, kind of get bogged down and don't get to complete everything you want to complete. And I think we're all doing a lot of work right now for all of the things that are going on, whether it's within your committees or some of the, ad hoc committees that you sit on. So, and we've got the technology update. These are all, 1 year we just threw it into the pot and now we're gonna cook it and end up in a better place for it. But like I said, we'll look at big things again in
Okay,
20.
and savor it.
Yeah.
Isn't that nice to hear? And then we'll start up again next year at end of spring, beginning of summer, looking at more projects. Anything outside the scope of normal expectations. Roads are expected, things like that are expected. The CHIP money, we have that funding, that's expected. But anything outside the normal expectations that we already have, okay?
Are there any things that were specifically delayed at this time?
No, nothing is being delayed, so that's a good thing. Everything's moving, of course, the wheels move slow sometimes. There's projects that, won't be completed until 2026, and we know that. But there'll be at a point in 2025, next spring, where they're gonna be starting to flow on their own. We're just, we're just gonna be approving different stuff. Yeah.
Second.
So that's ongoing.
That's
Yeah.
ongoing. We did appropriate 2 years of the CDBG money for that. So those are things that, and we're in the process now of the roof.
Bids out for the roof.
That's another one.
That's another one, yes. Thank you
That's
for-
another
That's
one.
another one. I told you there were like 10 out there.
Yeah, and that's going to be a continuation until we can, because Ben estimated that it's going to be very expensive to bring it back to a working condition. So, but we're doing bit by bit.
That's a continuous, that right now it's taking baby steps, but then it can be one of the things, once we get some of these other projects, the community plan done and off the table, we can sort of push that more in the the grant direction and really, to start looking for the funding that we can move more, because Ben would like to get his office over there. That's what, we discussed that, so that will be
And then, in the area and the development of the Main Street, that's one of the.
That's all, the other big that we're gonna do anyways next year, that we did not do this year. We did not do New York Forward this year because we want it to be an exceptional application. So we are doing it for 2025, but we're thinking of going for DRI. And that's downtown revitalization, that's the
$10 million.
And we have lots of support for that on the west end, with the business owners and, members of the community, because that's where we're gonna focus next. And that's where the section house
Is
and
included then. Should be awesome.
the Lehigh Valley train station, all of those things will, we've got some really good, so far, some really good feedback and lots of, yes, I'll write that letter of recommendation when you get to that
So
point.
that would be another one that we started. but not
That's
completed.
that's gonna be the 2025 first big push probably, it's gonna be that. Downtown revitalization. New York Forward is the 4.5 million and DRI is the 10 million. So depending, and we need to pull some numbers and the things, that's why we wanted to get more of a base before we get of numbers and what we can really do and how much we really need. before we move forward on that. If we need the extra 10 million, then we'll do DRF. For those DRF. So that's the first big one for this. So, and the list, it is a big list, but, if you want to be able to get through them all as well, and to make sure we're in a straight trajectory and not going sideways on it. Asher Crossing update. They have not gone to planning board.
No, I talked to, talked to their attorney. They talked to the building department. We're trying to set up another meeting. Between the commissioner of buildings and me and Nap and whoever else wants to be involved.
Okay.
I actually I haven't heard back on a date. I actually suggested tomorrow this week here for the plan meeting. But I haven't, we haven't had that meeting.
Okay, and that meeting will be to review.
Could sort of go over the punch list.
Okay, and then we'll be.
Then we'll try to
back the
figure
planning
out
board?
what needs planning board approval versus, and it may be everything on the list, but to see whether there's anything that could be cleared.
Building department
yeah.
and?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, that would be, I would like that is an ongoing.
Yeah.
I think prior to my even being a trustee.
Probably, yeah.
So that's been a long time, so if we can get that one, and then we that goes on and on, if we get that done.
Mhm.
Talking about this. Yeah. Okay, many years. So, yeah, so let's keep that. It's
Yep.
on here every week, or every 2 days.
Yep.
Okay, 20 long. We will be moving on that to next meeting. The,
I'll,
The local
Yeah,
law was
local law.
filed,
I
okay,
got the confirmation today.
Okay.
Figures, right?
yeah. And the other ones too, by the way.
1, 2, 3, and 4.
Yeah.
Still waiting on that, yeah.
Once the Supreme Court receives, the letter today.
Yeah.
Alright, and that's everything I have, Deputy
And then
Mayor
this next
report.
one, the
Thank you, Mayor Hunt. In terms of events, as you know, our composting and collection of pumpkins and gourds is this Saturday, and I expect many because I sent information to the DEC Solid Waste and Recycling, and they posted it to their website. So if you click on the Village of Williamsville, there's pumpkin, a collection for composting. You click on Williamsville, I send them all the information. It goes right to our walkable Williamsville page and explains where it is.
Nice.
So it's advertised there on the DCE page, as well as it went into the electronic backpacks for all local schools. It's posted in all libraries. It is also posted at all local markets like George's, Mishler's, etc. We had a great team from the town of Amherst who went around with the posters and left them at these various places. So I'm expecting a huge turnout. So I was hoping Ben and I could decide where we're gonna put this truck, because I would kind of like to have a drive around, a drive-through, dump and leave. So I'll talk to them sometime this week, and I want it parked out at Friday. And they have a lot of volunteers, so we're all set. It's gonna be on this coming Saturday from 10 to 1. So don't throw your pumpkins in the trash, please. In terms, yeah,
No rain, but there you go.
no rain, right? That's
Yeah,
good.
50 degrees.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun too. The kids love it. And I'm gonna have some kids helping.
Oh,
So
good.
we'll be in good shape. In terms of committees, the bioswales. The environmental committee has been helping in cleaning them, and John Nickerson, who's one of the members and one of my favorite people who's very analytical. He actually went and looked at all the bioswales and wrote up an entire composite of the reasons they're not working. So he said, before you go dig them all out and put in new plantings, we need to figure out why they're not working. So he wrote it down, and some are not really bioswales, some are not built to be bioswales. Some don't even have enough opening to retain, to bring in the water. So he put that in this little packet, which I made copies for everybody. So I want us all to review it and decide how we're gonna go forward with these biofuels. Yeah, and I also made a copy for Ben, so I'll give that to him tomorrow, hopefully I'll see him. But, it's pretty surprising. Unfortunately, also sad at the same time, because these were all built, some aren't even at a correct grade. So they just sit flat, they should never be flat. It should be at a grade where they're gonna, when the water comes in, it flows into the drain and then back, cleanse itself and then back to the creek. Well, a lot of them aren't even built at a grade. I mean, I don't know who built them, but they're not properly done. So we don't wanna invest money and energy in biospills that aren't even working.
They are continuous, you know, challenge.
Yeah, so we have to
So, yeah,
decide what we wanna do.
Figure them out.
I mean, are we just gonna keep them as planters, remove them completely? I hate to say it. Some of them, just fill them with rocks, I don't know. But it's one thing like these, I'm gonna buy this one. Not these.
They are, they're not.
But they really, you think they are, but they're not really working because they're not going anywhere. These. According to John. And John he has a very analytical mind with that. And I think he's actually an engineer by trade and he works for National Grid. But, so he said it was okay to pass this along, and if you have any questions, bring them to me, and I can take them back to John. But I'm still waiting for a call back from the lady at RIT, because she works does the bioswells over at the university there, so I think, RIT. I'm still waiting for a call back from them, but, so, this is it for now, sorry.
You think we think that Tracy back and figure out where they're going, maybe we can get some help with
Yeah,
directing them.
I know. Yeah, but, the only other, oh, I'm sorry, yes, please,
Happened to have a conversation with last meeting.
okay, right,
So here's the, I just wanted to copy.
oh, absolutely, I have a copy for them, right, I want to sit down with them,
Pretty well developed.
were they similar?
Um, My question from like on bias.
Yeah, all in all, yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, the plantings, you should start from scratch if we're gonna retain them, but there should be more cutouts where the water flows into, and that can be done easily, in my opinion. But some really have to be looked at to see if the grade is sufficient. Because if it isn't, do we add cement, degrade it more? I mean, could it be as simple as that? So that's something we have to discuss in the future. Again, another thing that we're dealing with, one of those things. Unfortunately, they're very unsightly when they get overgrown. But even the weeds, they say, are helpful. So believe it or not, we don't like the weeds, but they're not as bad as not having anything. Because even the weeds cleanse the roots. You just have to keep them trimmed. So, you have to live with it. Okay. I don't really have anything else other than, I have a question for Chip about HPC. I'm sure you read the emails with the demolition of structures.
Mhm.
Is there anything that we can change to go forward with that?
Well, I'm not sure that a change is necessary, but I mean, it depends what the board wants to be referred to them. So right now, what gets referred to them is, is,
The HPC board.
yeah,
Right.
It-
Let me, yeah, go ahead.
so not everything over 50 years old gets referred to them. Unless that's what you want to happen, but that's not the way it's written.
That's exactly what they want to have happen, because they want to make the decision,
I understand, it's your decision,
right?
because you guys write the code. What needs to be referred to them is a local, anything that's on the state or national register, or anything that's in a historic resource, which is defined to be basically the intensive level survey, the two intensive level surveys and the reconnaissance level surveys that the village has done. And any principal building over 50 years old.
Right.
And that's where there was a determination by the code enforcement officer that the structures that were being demolished, that were applied for demolition with respect to that particular property, were not part of the principal structure.
Right.
They were
Sheds.
sheds, I
Yeah,
guess
they
we
were
would call
built
them.
at a later time,
Right.
but,
And
yeah.
And Kate's view was those are additions, those are not separate structures. Mark had a different interpretation. So, what the code says, I mean, the code does define principal structure to include, the only thing it specifically includes, other than what you would normally think of as a principal structure, is an attached garage.
Right.
So, you know, I think that there could be two different interpretations there. So
And
if
there
you,
are.
but we, so if you want to include additions, then we should, that can certainly be clarified. To make it clear that anything attached to the principal structure is part of the principal structure. But that's really a decision for you all. Now, the issue then is, so say you have, one of the potential issues, I'm not expressing an opinion on this, I don't really, you guys can do whatever you want to do. But you say you have a structure that's 55 years, principal structure 55 years old, and it's got a 35-year-old addition on it. Is that, so if somebody wants to take on that addition that's less than 50 years old, is that something that can and should need to go to the HPC? You think so? That's fine. But now, in that particular, that's not the example we're talking about here, because I think this thing was way older than 50 years old. It's probably more like 150 years old, that particular building. But at any rate, that's why I think that distinction was made for the principal structure versus. Well, actually, I shouldn't even say that. I think they're really, what was envisioned is they didn't want to have to, people to have to go to the HBC if somebody wanted to demolish their shed. You know,
Right,
their
but
detached
I
shed.
understand, the kid always expressed their concern with residential properties, that they totally get.
Mhm.
Because a lot of these historic homes actually have semi-barns, that were made into garages,
Yeah, that's a good
and
point.
they're old. and
Right.
they can be-
Now, but I'll just keep in mind, if that structure itself is in a historic inventory that the village maintains,
Yeah.
then it would have to go there
Legally,
anyway.
no
Yeah.
matter what.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's just a question of striking the right balance, right? Do you want people to have to go, I suppose, the other extreme example would be somebody who happens to own an old home, which is almost every house in this village is more than 50 years old. If they want to demolish a shed, they have no backyard. But I don't, the way I read Casey Gall, I'm not sure that she was advocating for that. I think what she was saying
No,
is
'cause they were
if they're all
semi-attached.
attached.
Yes.
So again, that's
I think
totally
attached
up
makes
to the
sense.
board. If you, I can certainly propose some language to that effect, and you can consider it, and hold a
Well,
public
since
hearing, and
HPC
make your
doesn't mind
decision.
taking that on, they clearly said that, if something comes up, they
Well-
don't mind going and looking at the structure that's adjoined to the historic property and making that determination, they don't mind doing that.
So this is just for demolition.
Yeah, so what the code provides, so if somebody goes in, to get a demo permit in this village. Ordinarily, the code enforcement officer, I shouldn't say ordinarily because of the age of the structures in this village, but theoretically, that is an administrative process. You don't need to get board approval to get a demo permit. It's just something that the building department issues you. Unless one of three things applies. It's on the state or national register. It's determined to be potentially eligible in a historic resource. And that again, the village has commissioned many years ago, or over a number of years, 3 different surveys, a reconnaissance level survey and then 2 intensive level surveys. that have looked at a number of buildings within the village to determine whether or not they may be historically significant. And then the third is any principal building over 50 years old. So the question would be, do we clarify, well, I mean, do we try to make it more clear if that is what the intent is, that the principal structure includes any addition to it, as opposed to say an outbuilding. And I should say, by the way, there's a fourth category that didn't even need, if obviously it's a designated landmark, that also has to go to HPC. That's governed by a different part of the code. So,
But to tear down section to you now requires HPC standard.
it doesn't, so it requires a referral to HPC if the home is more than 50 years old, which probably applies to 95% of the houses in the village. It has to be referred to the HPC. The theory is to give HPC a chance to determine, whoa, this, because if it was already a landmark, then people would definitely have to go to HPC and get HPC approval to demolish it. You don't need, this isn't an approval, disapproval issue. It's basically to allow the HPC to decide, should this be a landmark? Should we nominate this? And if they do, then that process has to play itself out. And if it gets nominated and then approved by this board as a landmark, then it would require HPC approval to demolish it. Now, this referral procedure has been triggered numerous times in the village. And I think it's generally worked the way it was intended to. For the most part, the HPC has determined that the structures that have been referred to them are not worthy of landmark designation, so then the demolition permit just sort of goes through. But where it is, then they can start the landmarking process. The landmarking process?
Well,
So the theory is this whole thing is supposed to work pretty quickly, because it's supposed to, if that referral happens, it's supposed to then be on the agenda at the next HPC meeting. And then they're supposed to decide at that meeting. Now, exactly when the demolition permit application falls in the calendar of meetings can present a challenge, because there's a fact gathering exercise that has to happen. But it's supposed to happen fairly quickly, but it can drag on a little bit. Now, if they nominate it for a landmark, that you're looking at a few months at least, because then there's at least one public hearing that has to be held. And then they make a decision whether they want to recommend it for, after that public hearing, for landmark status or not. And then it comes to this board to make the decision, and you guys have the option to hold an additional public hearing. You don't have to, you can make your decision based on the HPC's record that they develop. But that is where it can lead to a somewhat lengthy process, but I think somewhat that's by design, because if it's determined it's a significant historical structure, then well, although a detached structure, to your point, like you could have a detached structure that's historically significant.
Right.
It used to be the house before it was moved to the back of the
Oh, yeah, just like there was one on Eagle Street, a very old barn in the garage, and they wanted to demolish that, remember that? And it didn't happen. And now the owner is very happy with it. Because now she loves it. So, I agree with HPC. I mean, they're willing to take that on. And I agree with them. It was just came to a shock when they drove down West Spring Street and saw the shed sign, bang. They just wanted to be involved in that process.
I totally get it. I didn't, that was the decision that the building department made.
Do we want to look at something? Do we want to shift the?
But now but what's about this point? So it's easy enough to propose language to better define what principal structure is. But if you're concerned about the hypothetical that was related to like a carriage house or something, that would require something else. Possibly just saying any structure, but then you risk sweeping up, somebody's little shed, the potting shed or something. So, that's where the difficult line drawing becomes, I guess. But I can draft a couple options. And,
Would you please?
sure.
Yeah, because I know APC wants to move forward with it.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's happened now essentially twice in this past year where there were demolitions that were,
And I know a lot of people who move into the village desire to take it, to leave the old homes and put up different type of buildings. Which is their right, but if it's a good solid building.
Or historical significance. Well, so we look at it.
Okay, that'd be
Yep.
great if you could do that too.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I will do that.
Okay, the last thing I had, at the Erie County dinner, a gentleman who is with the village of the Park liaison, he mentioned that they are with Waste Management to pick up their garbage, and they also have an agreement with Waste Management, it's called At Your Door. They pick up any type of paint, chemicals, whatever, you fill out a form on their website, and they send you a bag. And you elect, it's everything, yeah,
We
it
have
has paint,
materials.
yeah. And they pick it up, and they charge their residents $2.50 more a month for that feature. Now, we're with Modern Disposal, and I looked into it, they don't do it.
They don't do it.
After all that, I thought this was really cool. I mean, I wish they did it, but they don't do it. Now, I don't know what our agreement is with Modern, I know it comes up every few years. So when that agreement comes up again soon, when we discuss it with the town, kind of piggyback with them, maybe we should ask them, are they willing to start a program like this, or maybe compare the prices with Waste Management? I don't know.
Okay.
It's always a possibility.
I would agree.
Right? Yeah.
I'll go say that. I find it objectionable that it costs us more per ton to process our recycling than it does to process it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
It's supposed to be the opposite.
Yeah, it's very expensive. That's why they recycle less and less and less, which is awful. But we should be going the other direction, and it kills me to see it. It really does. But, the other towns can take care of it. The other parts of New York, New Jersey, they seem to recycle. I mean, New Jersey recycles colored glass.
I know.
And we don't. I mean, why? We live, we're all on the same earth here. And
Oh,
we're
yeah.
very close to one another. So, anyway, that's all I have for tonight.
Thank you very much. We always recycle more. And we can look at it. We can take a look at it. It's time to do it. We, a hard look at the contract. Chip, you know the contract very well. So-
Well, actually, I
What is-
don't
what
all
is
that
our
well
option?
because we piggyback with the town, they've always taken the lead on that. I think we contact at that point. Pretty much a communication. Whoever the caller is at that time. I can't remember whether
I have to find
it's
Right
out.
now,
ever been.
modern.
Well, I know it's modern now. I just can't remember whether the village ever, since at least I've been there. I think they have it. Maybe it's public or something.
You see, what's the fun of it is I know modern does have a hazardous. I mean, they do take hazardous waste from commercial sites.
Yeah, we make a special
It
event, things like that, right? It would be nice. It's so cool because I looked on their site. It says, okay, what are you gonna have disposed of, blah, 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 how much do you have? And they send you a little bag. You put it by your garage, and the waste manager pulls up with their truck, walks up to your garage, grabs it, and takes it with them. Isn't that cool? I mean, all the paint you store in your garages and sheds and basements is all taken care of. Any solvent you don't need anymore, any paint thinner. It's amazing. I mean, I know what sits in my garage. Right?
Yeah, they use the old TV. Okay. All right, take that to your choice. Coaching block.
Chairman, you have to get a meeting. And I don't know if you'll have an opportunity to bring this up again. didn't really get a chance on first topic, they were talking about the two days. And one of the things that I pretty obvious from the community store and the last number of days, pushes that traffic on the store. And, you know, as a result, remember, we had summer class, because they own Main Street. So, you know, they go ahead and they plan ahead and build the deal down there. What's the plan for preventing this?
Well, I don't know if you remember them saying, but they're going to close them sooner,
Sooner?
so they don't even get on the highway.
See, that's, yeah.
So they're using that new system that you, not the VLAN system,
Yeah,
But
I
I-
remember.
they're using the new storm drain, not the storm draining. They're using the new system to track the storm. For nothing to know of, it's another,
The iPods one?
it may be. Those are the emergency alerts, but they're using another, way to track the storms and when they're coming in and how big they'll be. And they're going to activate the alerts and the public, warnings before the storm hits. And they're going to close those gates well before the storm hits so that we don't have that problem. Because they know that was a problem back in 22.
Yeah.
So in order to avoid that, they are going to close those gates from Rochester, I think they said from Tripoli and from Henrietta and Rochester. Because that's usually how it is. We're here, and if you go up 104, you're okay, but
Yeah.
so they're going to close the gates a lot sooner.
Yeah. The question is, how they people get off there and getting 3 or 5 and coming in, you know, that bridge on C Street, Main Street. So, yeah, it seems that it still can potentially be.
It could be.
Big problem.
But I don't think it's bad as it was that first time. But yeah, that was really bad. I think this time they are kind of try to be, even if it's not going to, they prepare for the worst. Even if it's not going to come in, if it doesn't come in that bad, they say, you know what?
At least we were ready.
We were ready. So, and they don't want to hear the complaining about why did you do this, why did you do that with my head. We had to, because then we don't want the alternative. And I think that's the mindset now.
Okay. Under the committees, as you know, we have the Halloween scavenger hunt, which was a huge success. There were hundreds of kids.
Yeah, a lot of things. It was really cute.
And checkers was a big one. But out there.
He climbed into a balloon.
How do you do that?
It's on Facebook. It's on Facebook. It was so funny. The kids loved it.
They were all-
Absolutely loved it. That was a nice treat from Youth and Rec. I don't know whoever approved that. That was really nice to have him here. It was very exciting for children and got the whole community of the parents. I mean, Tom Frank was there. He had the most fun of everybody.
Love that.
Very much. But it was a great event. The weather was perfect. People enjoyed both sides of this park. And kids were, you know,
All over.
all over. So they did a great job. They should be the next event would be bingo in November on the 15th. And that's utilizing the meeting house.
Right.
As well as, and that's on the 6:30 or 7 o'clock on the 15th.
Which is a Friday. I looked it up.
The next event after that we have planned is a movie at the Meeting House, which is on December 13th at 7 o'clock. And
They always provide popcorn.
there's a question here, we can, figure out. But from what I understand, you have to have a special permit if you're a municipality to share a meeting. And they piggyback off of rentals, but they have to pay like $100.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that right?
Oh, yeah. Happens all the time.
Music.
They police that stuff like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah.
Their company to come by.
Yeah.
Drive them.
I mean, they'll monitor websites and stuff, whenever,
People do that.
yeah. Send out letters and demands for
And because we advertise it, so they know.
Yep.
It's kind of sad.
Yeah, it's happened to this village in the past as well as many others.
Yeah.
Seems to, I think, in this case.
Yeah, it's a license.
Meeting house, again, meeting, very robust in bookings. Of course, we have our events and then some others, a lot of weddings. So it's being utilized very well. They asked questions about the things. I told them that we had, I think we've only gotten one, over them on that shop.
It was
Yeah.
holy moly.
So, there was discussion, I mentioned that, there was discussion, they wanted to propose that they were going to be assuming that they do as far down as they could, if it's going to be scaffolding, because that way they don't have to put in scaffolding. So maybe down as far as, but I said, no.
No, if they're gonna do it two separate, they can bring in schedule together.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Can you imagine if it's a little shade off, how?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it should always be lighter than anything else.
It
That's
is, yeah.
normal.
Yeah.
I mean, so it's not gonna be an
What's
issue.
the,
Yeah.
I looked at the lights upstairs that we discussed.
Yeah, with the platform thing.
There's really not much to, it's not that invasive as far as taking space out. It blocks the view, but, it does present a problem for the theater, and if they were put out front and whatnot, those cans that they have to be focused, and they have to be focused annually.
They do?
Yeah,
So somebody's up there focusing it,
yeah. Not while the production's going on.
but beforehand.
Beforehand. So every time that they
Really?
want to make an adjustment, they'd have to get up on a ladder or something.
I had no idea.
I don't think we-
So there's like a little
Yeah.
focusing it?
Each one of them has.
Really? I did not know that. That makes sense. Well, that's okay. Plus, it's a historic interior, so I'm gonna tell Mary that she's not gonna know.
Yeah, it's
Not gonna know.
it's more effort than it's. you get out of
Well,
it.
yeah, and we don't want people on that as part of the production.
No,
And now they're-
I didn't realize they
they're
were
running
handled.
out, it's left.
Yeah.
So other events that take place there, it's not just rocket points.
Right.
So,
Right.
yeah. Douglas indicating that there's an issue. It's where you keep that.
Yeah.
You know that.
Yeah, we replaced the front door one, but it's
There's something with the components and they look the same.
yeah, right. I've got 2 quotes in for new systems for this building and meeting house. So I'm just waiting on them.
Traffic and safety, we're going to have, is it on November 7th meeting? That's our next meeting. Lots of
Oh, yeah, Boston, yeah.
So they're gonna come in and sit with the community. Some mention about making having a public forum with that, and I talked to Wally, we kind of decided not to do that at this point. We've got enough input, I think, and ideas from the community and residents.
You know what, 2 years ago, GBNTRC, right, is that right?
GN.
Yeah. They actually did a survey of that area. It's less than 2 years old.
Yeah.
I will give it to you.
Yeah.
You can give it to Watts, even though they came up with absolutely zero solutions. But they do have figures. Okay, they do have figures and such, so I will leave it in your mailbox.
Yes, thank you.
When are you meeting with them?
The second.
I'll pull it up tomorrow. All right.
That's all I have.
No, this is great.
On the meeting house, they come up with like something.
Oh,
All the bad events.
if they're posted on those events on.
That's internal, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
On the website?
Well, we can't do Rocking Horse Productions, we can't advertise, because that's a private function. The Rocking Horse advertises on their own site, but we can't list it, like I can't put it on Facebook. I can only do it if it's something like this. if we're directly involved.
Like these two, the two
No.
youth and,
Yeah, if it's not
Yeah.
village sponsored or committee sponsored.
Can't remember.
I know when we have Santa Claus and stuff like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Only when the committee is directly involved, they would share the information, which I do always. And it's always on WhatsApp. But anything that Rocking Horse Protection does, we can do.
Right.
The only thing we can do when we talked about it, when we talked about this, is we can put books or open. You know,
Right.
whether it's booked or open, so people can look to see if it's available before, you know, for something they want to do. But we wouldn't want to list people's weddings or gatherings or personal information. So
Or private,
just
private booking, private.
so just booked or open.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's,
Because Catherine used to keep track of all
Right.
that. And I used to do, would refer people to
it's
Catherine.
another,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's another data entry responsibility that we'll see. We'll see what we can do.
Yeah. We did put a calendar up there that was for like community events, and we put at the top of it, which I cleared with him, that, you know,
As
that
long
these
as
are
it's
not
open.
village sponsored events.
Right.
This
I
is
mean, there's
happening.
nothing, you can have a community
Yeah,
calendar on your website,
yeah.
as long as it's
So we could
open
actually
though,
do
but,
that.
but it's, you
One of
know,
how you explain.
and as long as somebody has the ability to,
Yeah.
and the capacity to do that work.
Well, you know, the shows are always sold out and the Rocky Horse. So however he advertises, it works.
That's true.
It works.
Yeah, that's
I mean,
true.
he's never had a not a sellout show in the past.
Right.
Right, but it could be a nice, like, instead of community calendar,
Right.
might be a nice feature for the village to have for residents, as long as we can do that.
Right.
I always thought we could not.
Because it'd be two calendars, right? There'd be our main calendar, which has all our committee
Or the
meetings and
government
stuff. And
calendar.
there'd be another calendar that has,
And then the public
Events.
events.
yeah, like a
But then
community.
the WGA, we want to be involved in them as well. And they
Which is
wanna
okay.
feature, like
Yeah.
Oktoberfest.
Right.
Can we do that?
I have not been doing.
If we have a disclaimer, then we have a separate calendar.
Yeah, like I
Partner
say,
with
I
them?
think if you can, there's nothing wrong that I can think of just having a community calendar that anybody, but, you know, you just don't want to get in the only problem is if then you suddenly find yourself in a position not wanting to put something, picking and choosing
yeah.
between,
That's true.
that's where it gets a little tricky.
Right.
I mean, some things I just wouldn't advertise for, like, you know, like drinking things. Sorry, you know.
Well, and that's what you're saying.
That's just
Yeah.
it. Yeah, we can't
Remember
do
when we
that.
had the whole beer drinking fest out there a year ago? And you go to bracelets? Yeah, they did. They did. They did. And that is actually also run by,
The dog that runs that?
I hope not.
Doug.
Dog, Kern, yeah.
Doug does that, because he also features when the museum is open. Because he does it before I do, I'm like, it's open this week, so then I can do my own. But yes, he does have a meeting.
No, for me.
I don't know
I
if
think
you're
for
right.
all of them,
House
yeah.
events- it's
Yeah.
got Meeting House Events Committee, is the chairman.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's really good, I mean.
He's great. Oh, he's great. Yeah,
Really good.
he does a great job.
I have one other question on it. What's the doing with the stop sign on the
The law was adopted,
Mhm.
so I don't know, I mean, that's a question for Ben.
Ben's not here.
Yeah.
He was- I don't know.
Yeah,
Don't know.
I don't know.
I don't think
And
so.
another, but yes, we'll follow up on that.
stop sign on the street?
Oh, yeah.
I'll be talking to the church about putting a stop sign.
On their property, coming out on the grove. Yeah.
We talked to changes
So I thought they liked the idea.
everything.
They do, right?
Just so we can even on.
Yeah, because that came up at HPC too, remember? Different stop signs
Yeah.
and we're like, okay, we're staying with that. It had nothing to do with HPC.
Well, it was definitely.
Right.
All right. You're all set.
Question.
Okay, thank you, trustee Phillips, trustee Hahn.
On stop signs. You might consider.
Out of the parking lot. There's no stop sign there. People are supposed to stop anyway.
It's written on the, on the
Paper,
pavement
right.
to stop. Yeah, the stop sign.
Chip, do we need to take that to traffic and safety and then?
If you're talking about putting it on private property, it's not really anything we can legislate. We can ask them. Yeah. So in that case, I mean, if they want to put a stop sign on their property, then you can stop them.
It's private property. You think
Yeah,
it's
we just
possible
can't.
We don't stop? I mean, I don't really go them off.
When you're walking.
Yeah. I mean, I almost got hit actually crossing here at the Amherst, you know, when they pull out and pull in. I was crossing the road, this guy holding up a maid and he said me. That
In this
freaked
parking
me out.
lot here?
Yeah.
Yeah. I won't drive in or out in this one. I'll drive
Wow.
into it, but I won't drive out of it. Yeah.
And he would almost taught me over.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, now this is really dangerous. Is there no stripes there? Because they come in left, you know, they come up Main, and
Yeah.
you don't see cars, they don't look for pedestrians, because they don't see cars.
Well, that's
And
the,
they go
but
right
there's
in.
so many things blocking their view too, between the cars, the utility box things.
Yeah, it's
like there's
very
so
bad.
much
Well,
up
who would think
there.
of that?
That's why I don't pull out, because you literally have to pull into the walkways to see anything, and there's all those people, both directions. So I just go to the light.
Oh, maybe we do. Yeah.
There's no crosswalk really. Just walking. I mean, pulling out to the sidewalk.
Okay.
Certainly.
Yeah.
When we were talking about the neighborhood, right,
Mhm.
streets over there, somebody had made mention that the school buses from south are through there, even though they're not properly ticketed. If that's the case, is that just that you can make an appeal to the school bus company, but that's not it?
I mean, it's a public street, but you could put a weight limit. It's a village street. So you,
But then we get the bus.
oh, right, yeah, that's the
Yeah.
problem, right. The buses do need to go down
They'll
there.
just have to decide.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's a good question. I don't, sitting here right now, I can't think of a way how you could allow school buses for Christian Central to go
Yeah.
down there, but not Williamsville.
All you can do is appeal to the companies.
Right.
Well, okay. I actually, I go to, the superintendent. If it is back happy, or are they just PTA?
I mean, you're being told that that's what's happening, I haven't seen.
No, we already
No, we
discussed
already
that
discussed
with
that.
Deb
Just that little
Rogers.
thing.
That's when you had a liaison who wanted to sell it.
The street?
Sell,
Yeah.
yeah, sell the road, and we don't even go with the school street. Wanted to sell school street.
Okay, well, then,
We went through all of that already, but yeah, nothing.
we'll watch this and study it and then look at that whole
That's right.
area. Let's just wait. Okay?
Yeah.
Let's stop. All right, trustee Hunt.
Tree board, so we can have a quote. So, then communicated with what the certain number. Getting the okay to do that, or do you have to do that?
So they have three bids?
Mhm.
And going low bid or are they going based on
I didn't say anything, no, it just, there's the preference.
chip? I don't remember ever, deciding which vendor we went to for trees.
Yeah,
So
it
the-
does,
hold
it
on,
didn't
I don't-
usually go in front of
Yeah.
the board. It was just the tree board put it together, we did the 3 bids and they make the decision and we just buy them. They were around 12, it's around 12,000, 12,500.
Yeah, but the village board has to approve the expenditure.
Well, they would as a, you know, like a voucher. type of thing. I mean, you'd see it that way
Right.
and approve
We'll see
it,
when it
right,
comes through, but we
before
don't
any
choose
money
the
goes
vendor.
out.
I don't remember.
I mean, unless it's, I've never really thought about the question, but I mean, unless, well, it's how much?
About
Oh,
12,000.
it's underneath. So
Yeah,
it's
the
not like it's
procurement
subject to-
policy, it's.
Yeah, as long as you're
it's
following the
subject to-
procurement policy.
Mhm. 72 trees.
So,
They choose the vendor.
you get that government, figure out that. The government, they have accepted the to the board meeting, Gail is the assistant manager, I believe. Okay. We used to do that, Evan.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah, she's so
Elizabeth.
nice, Elizabeth.
Yeah, so she's gonna resume her, graduate duties for the WBA.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's nice. She's so nice. Yeah,
She's already.
she's awesome.
Yeah, we got some interest as far as. Beautification committee, long down. And we'll be meeting Monday. Just doing, of course, the development of issue questions. Well, I don't know if you noticed, some of the completions on the facade. On Northwest Street, and some,
Oh, yeah, it looks nice.
yeah,
Yeah, it really did.
same thing with the salon.
Yes.
Get a chance to swing by the fitness center, the training center, South Mountain.
Oh, I really did.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Cool.
Cool.
So,
I'll look at that one.
that concludes my.
Thank you, Trustee Young, Trustee Jackson.
Three.
You were.
There's a high.
Committee invite you to celebrate idea, at the village meeting house. November 2nd, to 4 p.m. Song, dancing, and cherry coming from outdoor and creative community. And you have other cultures and there's some food and they have a meeting coming up Thursday, November 14th. And it's last year, in Village Hall. That's about it from Arts Sports and Diversity. Parks Committee, they're currently reviewing their master plan. Top 2025 in the parks. So they will be meeting again, November 19th, Tuesday, November 19th at 7 o'clock in the hall. And Gladden Park going forward is also winding down for the season. I guess the next big thing will be putting up Christmas decorations in December, the Halloween decorations. Great, so the next meeting is Wednesday, November 15th, at 7 o'clock.
When they plan to,
That's probably if you go the first week of next week. It was, actually,
yeah, but we build in hope, we said.
that was put out. The wind took it.
We did brain surgery.
Wow.
Head, we go a hole through the head. It looked perfect. Now the one's up there hanging by his neck.
I don't know. The wind took the blow in.
Really?
So now it goes inside the hood. The blow.
Yeah, that looks good. That looks really good. And I saw the lights.
They're on the.
Yeah, they look good too.
So that's it.
Randy, you think you get Village Attorney Greco, report,
No,
Administrator Young, anything else?
I don't think so.
And, zoning is not. And that concludes our work session, 7 minutes, we'll take 7, into the board meeting. Any other questions? Any questions on the? Very,
Firefighting fee?
very.
Firefighting fee?
All right. I'd like to, yep, there we are. Are we on?
Yes.
Thank you, Administrator Kell. Okay, I'd like to welcome everybody to the Village of Williamsville Village Board meeting for October 28th, 2024, beginning at 7:32 p.m. I'd like to start with the Pledge of Allegiance led by Trustee Hahn.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Trustee Hahn. Roll call, please.
Sure. Mayor Hunt,
Here.
Deputy Mayor Tory,
Here.
Trustee Celeste,
Here.
Trustee Hahn,
Here.
Trustee Jackson.
Here.
Thank you.
Okay. Rules of procedure, Trustee Hahn actually put a copy for public comment, rules and procedures on the podium. We ask that everybody follow the guidelines, and only come to the podium once per meeting, provide your name and state whether you are a village resident or non-resident, and limit your remarks to 3 minutes. I ask that you please address the board as a whole and not individual board members. Okay, thank you. Make a motion to to suspend the rules. Oh my God. I
Do you want to do the minutes first?
Approval of minutes. I'm moving right along here. I'm not thinking. Sorry, guys. Approval of the minutes. Need a motion to approve the minutes from the meeting of October 15th, 2024. All those in favor? Aye. Okay, thank you very much. Rules of procedure, everybody already knows. And I make a motion to suspend the board meeting for public participation.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Great. If anybody would like to step up to the podium and address the board, please do so, stating your name and whether or not you are a village resident.
Hello,
Hi.
Eric Christensen, 27, Williamsville resident. I'd like to get on for a future agenda, dealing with the vacant property at 22 Evans. And becoming as a safety concern, we're moving on 2 years now. And the property is not being well maintained, it's not very secure at this point. And I think the word fairness gets thrown around a bit too much, but it's not necessarily fair to me if I were to think about moving and selling my existing property. It's essentially a big eyesore. I don't see any resolution in the future. So I don't know if I can find any satisfaction or discussion about that today, but in the future, I'd like to look to be addressed and added.
Do I know which one that is?
Yes, the
brown
brown one.
Yeah.
It's the
It's
former.
come up before.
Yeah, I thought somebody was fixing it up. There's a gentleman living in there that was hired by the owner who was actually looking.
I do not believe that the premises
So it's the-
fit to use it.
Yeah,
As far as I'm aware, the services are off, still has temporary emergency, whatever you call it, shuttering or whatever, when the accident happened. There's nobody living there anymore.
We'll put that on the work session, actually. Good point. We'll put it on the next work session. We had that, discuss it.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can bring us up. to
It's
date
the
on
one where the car drove up?
Correct.
Oh, well, that's really a town of Amherst who's been dealing with it. It's an insurance issue. I know that for a fact, because I inquired. It's an insurance issue. The woman's insurance and the gentleman who owns the house,
Mhm.
the insurances have not found an agreement as to who's supposed to pay what. And that's why. It's actually the town of Amherst who's doing it for years, for 2 years now.
Is that with code enforcement? Is that
It is code enforcement.
I don't, well, yeah, it would be a code enforcement if it's a property maintenance issue or, but this first, I don't remember this come up before. So this house here listed as a
It was a
law.
law
Yeah.
office, yeah.
Yeah, it looks terrible. That's
I mean, it
not-
looks
that's-
okay in
No,
this
that's
picture.
not what it looks like now.
It came up a while ago.
So they
We'll-
have
we'll-
cut the grass. Property.
Yeah, no, if there's
It's with them.
property maintenance issues, that's something.
We'll bring it to code enforcement.
The building department.
Well, it's
Okay.
the whole, this is the whole
code enforcement, we'll make sure that they're,
Yeah, maybe I can get the history.
yeah,
of
give us a little
What's
history of
happened
it.
so far.
Let it- See where that's going.
Okay, so,
Okay.
so what's the resolution?
We'll discuss it at work session.
Okay.
We'll get an update at work session next meeting. Okay?
All right, thank you.
Which
You're
is
welcome. Thank
November 12th.
Yes.
Yeah.
What happened? Are we able to do it?
Yeah, but it isn't.
Oh.
Those voters, voting. It hasn't come up before, but I was probably looking into doing that down. There's a lot of damage done. So, you want to just answer me all at once so I don't run out of time. But after the last meeting, I'm just wondering why a public forum public forum wasn't called on the parking on Rhinewald, and why it was called on the Academy Legal Street. This was brought up like 2 years ago also, and it was discussed that Dan Delano and the Loader and the Rogers, and they were going to call a public forum. Do you know anything about that?
No,
So what constitutes that, number one?
we're going to look at Rhinewell within the scope of the lots engineering.
What main street in Rhinewald, around the corner on Full Street, because it's the same corner like we do in Academy, where people cut around the corner.
We're gonna look at, the scope of work is from Rhinewell, School Street, Academy Street, Eagle Street, Evans Street,
But main in Rhinewald.
and all the way down.
Not just where Rhinewald, connects to School Street.
We're looking at the scope of work in the contract with WAC, and that will include
Does the
Rhinewell.
contract state that though? Do they know that?
They'll look for input. We're going to look at Rhinewell at the corner of School Street. The issue with the school buses will be part of that, turning off of Main Street, and what is the solution there?
Okay, and there's a school bus stop right across from my driveway. There's 3 houses that are up for sale, but we don't know whether it's probably be young children involved. There's going to be much of a concern around there as we go around Academy. I'm not.
That's why we're looking from Rhinewell all the way through,
Okay,
so we
I
can
don't want to run
address.
out of time there. And we have a mixed use building going on across the street. We've got the empty convenience jewelry store, which is empty there. Parking still seems to be an issue. I discussed about why there's 2-hour parking in Farber Lane, and I can't seem to get a straight answer out of anybody about that. And I said, well, if you're going to do it there, then you need to do it on Rhinewald. And everybody seems to do that. But at the very least, if you're not going to change the parking on Rhinewald, then you need to remove the 2-hour over there, so at least people like myself can go and park our cars over there when we're trying to service our properties during the daytime when we're using our street like a parking lot. That be fair? It seems to me like the 2-hour parking in Farber is punitive to the school system there, and that's not right. You don't want to be punitive to the businesses, you can be punitive to.
I'm not sure why they implemented that
Well,
many years ago.
you need
It
to
may
look at- I want to
have
get through this
something to
because we're
do
talking about
with
time.
the school
That's
being
that.
right there.
And then, because I'm having a lot of difficulty getting out of my driveway at the park there. And my late mother only came to stay with me a few times because she was always concerned about the van coming to pick her up. They couldn't back in the driveway because the street was so narrow. So I think we need to be concerned about being able to service our properties and safety vehicles coming down the street, garbage vehicles coming down the street, so on and so forth. And the other thing I want to bring up is, because you had mentioned you were concerned about the traffic on North Ellicott and Eagle. So that's why I wanted to make sure, I don't see that as being an issue there as much as it is on Rhinewell. So both the trustee and trustee Corey were concerned about that because they live on Rhinewell. Which brings up my other point about the parking in front of the pool. I don't see how that's a priority. And we've got issues going on. We're worried about
Your time's up.
the traffic on.
Thank you,
I
Joe.
hope that's not going to go forward.
Thank you, Joe.
Losing that parking spot there.
Thank you, Joe. Well, we're looking into it in sense of traffic and safety.
What did they decide?
They haven't.
Because that doesn't
And
make
that's
sense
something
to
been
do that.
brought back.
Hold on a second.
Okay.
The study is going from Mill Street, so everything is in the parking on North Ellicott is a separate issue, but it's very similar to Ryan Wall in that when you have cars parked on the east side of North Ellicott, you can only have one car besides. So people pulling onto North Ellicott have to stop if the car is heading south. It creates a hazardous situation. And it's similar to Rhinewall. That's why we changed the parking on Rhinewall, because of that very situation. It's also similar in that you have an underutilized parking lot behind the building, right? People want to park in a very convenient spot, and you have no access coming out of North Ellicott, especially when someone walks out of one of the restaurants and opens their door onto, in that first stop, onto someone turning out of North Ellicott. Hazardous situation. So,
No, but I brought up before about turning Main Street into one lane each way, which would widen the lanes. And it
Thank you, Joe.
allow for pedestrian and bicyclists. I mean, there's no allowance for bicycles.
That's a different issue.
if I may, Main Street is a state highway. It is not under our jurisdiction. We can't, on our own, say, make it a 2-lane road.
That's true, but they defer to the villages. So if the village came,
Well, look at how they closed down Main Street for a few years in a row. They had a party on Main Street. How did that They happen? have to apply for a permit.
well,
It's to be approved by the Department of
well, what about
Transportation.
villages going through Ellicottville on 219? Or up in Lewiston? And you can name every village in New York State where there are accommodations. The state will easily defer to the village. But the village isn't gonna take a
You
stand.
make an
The state-
assumption.
Huh?
You make an assumption.
You're making an assumption.
All right, Joe,
You're
thank
telling us
you.
that the state will
Your
easily
3 minutes
make
are
a
up.
determination.
That's enough.
You can look
We
on
don't-
Broadway, you
this
can look
isn't a
on
discussion.
Delaware.
Thank you, Joe.
can
Thank you,
print
Joe.
streets all over the state. Okay, I think you just need to, I hope you can make notes of everything that is.
Joe,
I always
Sign this
make
up.
notes, yes, thank you. Anybody else like to step to the podium? I knew I had at least one more.
I just gave my presentation to the town board meeting, and I used the, as far as the Bank of America, the people that did that work, to have permission to access the property, the boiler house, the asbestos contaminated boiler house down in the Amherst State Park. And it has to do with an agreement of, this is very important, as far as an intermunicipal cooperation agreement for the Amherst Central Park Greenway. He was talking about the pedestrian and bicycle design feature that it's very important as far as the Glen Park Joint Board being the lead agency for the Amherst Central Park Greenway. And it really, they brought up 2 resolutions having to do with the town of Amherst budget and the capital improvement as far as the bonding for the maintenance of the water lines, the sewer lines, and the highway storm sewers that are all connected to Ellicott Creek. Is the lifeblood of the groundwater table. And it really, on the federal level, they estimated that the maintenance of the infrastructure over like 20 years was going to be $4 trillion. This is all tied into the environmental and, they're interconnected. That and there are 2 major connections between the village and the town. One has to do with the Niagara River Greenway, Billy licensing of the Niagara Power project, they knew the United States Army Corps of Engineers did a survey of the sinking houses, as far as all the basements that were cracked with everything. That every day the water goes up and down 1.5 feet. It affects everything. So that this is, and Cornell University is taking an affirmative way with the young people as far as we're at the next generation. We're at the end of the first quarter of the 21st century. And as far as what they're going to be taking on, it could be a nightmare. So thank you for doing what you're doing. I like what you did with the Bank of America.
Thank you, Tom.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
And that the,
That's
as far as
That's
what's
enough,
going
Tom.
on.
Thank
out
you, Tom.
here,
I know your 3 minutes are up.
You can give me
No.
another 10 seconds.
Thank you, Tom.
Okay, you're welcome. But as far as what's going on with the creek out here, they're interconnected.
Yes, they are. Thank you.
With us. And the money for the village comes from the town.
Thank
Really?
you, Tom. Anybody else? Seeing no one step to the podium, make a motion to close suspension of rules of public participation. All those in favor? Aye. Thank you very much. We do have 3 proclamations tonight. We are honoring 3 of our volunteer firefighters who have each served 1/2 century, 50 years. And we certainly do appreciate that. And we're quite pleased to have 3 proclamations that will be handed over to Chief Vogel in their absence. He's going to accept them. Our first one is for whereas volunteer fireman and fire inspector Donald Tony Schickler has served his local community through the Hutchinson Hose Fire Company for 50 years, and whereas Tony Schickler currently serves as the fire inspector for the village of Williamsville, and whereas in his half-century of service, he has shared his knowledge and experience with the fire department and with the citizens of the village of Williamsville, and whereas Tony Schickler has dedicated his life to exemplary volunteerism and the protection of life and property from loss by fire and other emergency situations. Now therefore, by the virtue of the authority vested in me as mayor of the village of Williamsville, on behalf of the village of Williamsville Board of Trustees and all citizens hereof, I, Christine Hunt, mayor of the village of Williamsville, do hereby proclaim the following: that Tony Schickler be and is hereby officially commended for his outstanding community service to the citizens of the village of Williamsville, that this proclamation be presented to him to serve as a reminder of our gratitude for his dedication to the service of the well-being of others, that a copy of this proclamation be made part of the official records of the village of Williamsville, New York. Thank you, Tony. We appreciate your time. We certainly appreciate it. And Village Hall, part of our team and a wonderful part of our team. Our second individual, whereas volunteer fireman and emergency medical technician Jack Omler has served his local community through the Hutchinson Hose Fire Company for 50 years, and whereas Jack Omler currently serves as the emergency medical services captain for the Hutchinson Hose Company, and whereas in his half-century of service, he has shared his knowledge and experience with the fire department and with the citizens of the village of Williamsville, and whereas Jack Omler has dedicated his life to exemplary volunteerism and the protection of life and property from loss by fire and other emergency situations. Now, therefore, by virtue of the authority vested in me as the mayor of the village of Williamsville, on behalf of the village of Williamsville Board of Trustees and all citizens hereof, I, Christine Hunt, mayor of the village of Williamsville, do hereby proclaim the following: that Jack Olmer be and is hereby officially commended for his outstanding community service to the citizens of the village of Williamsville, that this proclamation be presented to him to serve as a reminder of our gratitude for his dedication to the service of the well-being of others, and that a copy of this proclamation be part of the official record of the village of Williamsville, New York. Thank you very much. Again, for your service, we greatly appreciate it. And I believe I was told that this last one is Tom Frank's brother. Neil? Yeah?
Neil,
Yeah.
Michael.
Whereas volunteer fireman and social officer director Neil Frank has served his local community through the Hutchinson Hose Fire Company for 50 years. And whereas Neil Frank currently serves as the social officer director for the Hutchinson Hose Company. And whereas in his half century of service, he has shared his knowledge and experience with the fire department and with the citizens of the village of Williamsville. And whereas Neil Frank has dedicated his life to exemplary volunteerism and the protection of life and property from loss by fire and other emergency situations. Now therefore, by virtue of the authority vested in me as the mayor of the village of Williamsville, on behalf of the Williamsville Board of Trustees and all citizens hereof, I, Christine Hunt, mayor of the village of Williamsville, do hereby proclaim the following. That Neil Frank be and is hereby officially commended for his outstanding community service to the citizens of the village of Williamsville. That this proclamation be presented to him to serve as a reminder of our gratitude for his dedication to the service of the well-being of others, and that a copy of this proclamation be made a part of the official records of the village of Williamsville, New York. And again, thank you very much for your service. Thank you, Neil. Can I ask people to come up? My pleasure to present all three of these to you on behalf of your fire department. And thank you.
Thank you, appreciate it, thank you so much.
All right, now I will be dreaming about proclamations tonight. I'll know that language by heart. Public hearings tonight, we have none. Village board reports and resolutions. Report. I just did want to bring to the village residents' attention, the Erie County Water Authority has started the outreach program. You've probably received a letter for the lead and copper rule improvements mandate, so they will be replacing pipes. We are slated and they're going to begin our study next year. We've also received a separate letter from Erie County Water Authority that they will start looking at where the lead pipes are and start their actual study. So if you see them in the spring or goes around and checking pipes and looking for things, we'll keep you up to date. We still are trying to figure out just when they'll be here and what the procedure will be. So, but we will keep everybody up to date on that. Have no other reports for this evening. Just want to make sure. Make sure everybody knows the next board meeting, because of the holiday, will be November 12th instead of November 11th, which is Veterans Day. As a reminder to everybody. All right. And I make a motion that it be resolved that the following budget transfers are hereby made in the general fund for the 2024-2025 fiscal year as written.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Be it resolved that the following budget transfers are hereby made in the Glen Park Fund for the 2024-2025 fiscal year as written.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Make a motion that it be resolved that payroll and vouchers in the amount of $439,875.42, covering the period from 10/7/24 through 10/24/24, are hereby approved as follows, as written.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. That's all for me this evening. Everybody, please have an enjoyable Halloween, safe and enjoyable Halloween. And I would now ask Deputy Mayor Tory for her reports and resolutions.
Thank you, Mayor Hunt. I have no resolutions tonight, but speaking of Halloween will take place this Thursday between the hours of 6 and 8 p.m. If you do not wish to have any children come to your door, just keep your porch lights off. Otherwise, turn them on and welcome. This will be an excellent night, by the way. Really good weather, so I expect a lot of children. And piggybacking on that, after Halloween, we're going to have many pumpkins laying around. Please don't throw them in your garbage. I will be collecting them back here at the parking lot on Saturday November 2nd, bring all your pumpkins, gourds, whatever you have, jack-o'-lanterns without candles, and I will collect them between the hours of 10 and 1. And we'll take them to the Amherst compost, where they will be properly composted into soil for our gardens and parks. So please don't throw them in your garbage. Thank you. Also, a reminder that effective November 1st, the overnight winter parking ban begins. So no parking on streets between November 1st and April 1st between the hours of 1 a.m. and 7 a.m. So it begins this Friday. So please park your cars in your driveways or parking spots, but off the streets. Thank you. And one more thing, early voting is happening, and I just want to remind everybody that when you vote early, you can go to any location in Erie County. If you're in Amherst, you don't have to go to the senior center. There are 28 total locations in Erie County you may go to early vote. If you're in Clarence and you want to vote, you can go there. If you're, anywhere in Erie County, if you're downtown, you can vote there, as long as you're registered. I just want to let you know that October 28th to November 1st, the times are noon to 9 p.m. Saturday, November 2nd, and Sunday, November 3rd, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. And of course, our general election will take place on Tuesday, November 5th, from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. So please get out there and vote, do your duty, and thank you very much. Okay.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Tory. Trustee Celeste?
Thank you. No resolutions this evening. I would like to take a moment and thank the members and volunteers for the Youth and Recreation Committee for putting on a wonderful Halloween scavenger hunt this past Saturday. It was a wonderful event. A lot of children in attendance, and prizes and a show by checkers. It was a good time for all. Right? And then to add that the Youth and Rec Committee will be having their bingo at the meeting house on November 15th at 7 p.m. And also jot down that on December 13th at 7 p.m. at the meeting house is their movie night. And from what I understand, that they're looking at holiday movies that haven't been picked yet, but that's the type of movie that we have. And that's all I have.
All right, thank you, Trustee Celeste. Trustee Hahn?
The food planting will be starting after the week. If we have good inventory and before. Just on the general note, I think the more trees we should have, definitely the better. And it's one of the biggest prices.
Okay, thank you, Trustee Hahn. Trustee Jackson?
Reports and no resolutions either. Just one announcement, the meeting house on November 2nd from 2 to 4 p.m. So it's Saturday. Parents Culture and Diversity Committee invites you to celebrate El Dia de los Muertos, Village Museums. Songs, dancing, and storytelling from Amor, heritage dancers, learn about other cultures, and enjoy some free family fun.
All right.
I got one thing.
Yes.
Let me interrupt.
Thank you, Trustee Jackson. Back to Deputy Mayor Tory.
Sorry.
That's okay.
One thing I reminded, last meeting, our DPW chief asked kindly not to put any leaves in the streets. And driving through the village, I see leaves all over in the streets, big piles, where you drive down and you have to actually, drive around them. But not only that, the biggest problem is they end up in our storm sewers, which back up and they will back up into your house. So please do not put your leaves into the street. It's not a good idea. You don't want them on the right of way, whatever it is. It won't kill your grass. And like they said, they don't come into your home and drink your wine either. So leave the leaves on the right of way and we will come get them. And they're really good. Just keep them out of the streets. Thank you.
Piggyback on that, yes, the rotation is continuous. They don't sit for long. So yes, please keep them out of the street. Thank you, Deputy Mayor Tory. Staff reports, anything Tip, anything to add?
Not me.
I'm good, thank you.
All right, I need a motion to adjourn. All those in favor? Aye. Make a motion to adjourn, I should say. All those in favor? Aye. Okay, thank you very much. That concludes our meeting.
Job, half an hour.
Yeah.